Hey guys, welcome. How we doing? Late stream today. Kind of had to work on a video before going live, but we are back. I haven't edited it, so it's not going to be the longest stream ever. But I did want to stream today, so here I am. I wanted to POB change of command because I've gotten a lot of questions and interest about change of command, and even though not much has changed in change of command, so my build from last league should still be valid, but I never did make a leveling approach to it. There is a low budget, but it's low budget assuming it is your second build, not assuming it's your first build. So I might make a low budget, where is it? Poison change of command. Also, certain things could make this pretty interesting. And what do I mean? Which is the final version? I think it's the final version. If I remember correctly, we are using a pneumatic dagger. What up? What up? I'm good. Doing all right. How about you? Now, if I remember correctly, we are using a dagger like this. All right. Why is this labeled my dagger? I can't remember why. Oh, really? Well, I'm happy to have you. I'm going to be posting the leveling variant of the guide tomorrow. That's what I was doing. That made me start stream later. I had to record, but yeah, I finally finished the low budget and medium budget and basically everything that is required to get to that high budget. So it's not just a giant gap, essentially. You played Frostbearers last season? Same. Which is why I'm going to register finals this league. I think the biggest part for me deciding to go register finals this league was that I needed a build where I would have a lot of damage, and B, I needed something that would be tanky enough that I wouldn't care about ending up in a boss room or the other, or killing monsters on repeats, because there are lots of revive mechanics this league. So, and the revive mechanics, they're not all make this thing stronger, but some of them are. I know there is an off flame they teased that was exactly that. You clear a map, then when you kill the boss, literally everything revives stronger or some shit like that, so you can kill one more time. Stuff like that anyways. So I wanted something that would have good damage but really good defenses as well, and I wouldn't have to click manually to summon anything, because if I had to click manually, I would get out of the build very quick, or much quicker than a permanent minion build. So I wanted to be a permanent minion build. That was the TLDR. I also considered change the command because I don't have to click for it. It has permanent minions. Only reason I didn't was because my memory of change of command reminds me that single target can be a bit iffy if your sword's survivability is not that great. Minion builds feel like you have many friends. I mean, you're never alone in PoE when you have a minion build. You step into your hideouts, there's all sorts of noises the moment you have specters. All you need is a perfect warlord, and you never hear quiet again in PoE. You forget what it's like for your hideout to just not have sound. Kind of wish they would buff Dancing Dervish. Dancing Duo Hoak Scion was my favorite build many leagues ago. Oh really? I've never played Dancing Dervish. I've heard horrible things about its AI, so I just never touched it. And like I've heard and I've seen other people play it, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I want to deal with that. So we're just not going. We'll just be over here with literally everything else. Yeah. So Dancing Dervish used to be played with Hoag once upon a time. With Cyclone or what? I assume it's something like Caswell channeling Cyclone, Ball Lightning or something. Then you get your Virulence and you still get the Rampage if you have a Gravebind and you're chilling. So what was I saying? With this build, there's one thing that has changed that could be very interesting. And that is Vixen's entrapment might not be needed. And so same thing with Pneumatic Dagger. Now, what do I mean by this? Pneumatic Dagger, the reason we went for a Pneumatic Dagger was so we could get elemental flat damage on it, scale that alongside physical damage, and then just have everybody, all the damage we had, poison because it's a Pneumatic Dagger and it had that implicit. However, now we have a certain, oh yeah, and we also paired this with Hatred, which is Fizz as extra. And we scale that a bit. So we're doing cold damage, we're doing like fire damage on the dagger, whatever elements we got, we had, and we're scaling the chaos, the poison variant of it. That was kind of the TLDR of the Chains of Command build I had. What changed this league is if I really wanted to, we could use that mercenary glove modifier that converts 100% of an element to chaos damage from minions. This means if we were to focus on cold damage, which would be the biggest source aside Fizz for poison on this build, then we can drop Pneumatic Dagger entirely. But the question is are there any daggers that even make sense from a DPS point of view other than Pneumatic Dagger? What is it? One-handed. A dagger, right? Oh, I'm just blind. Let's see the other bases. I guess if we don't have to use Pneumatic Dagger, then we can honestly go for a one-handed melee weapon too. Like a one-handed sword, a one-handed axe, etc. What about a Spirit Blade? It converts all... No, it's a random element still. The problem with that, with the glove, is if there's no guarantee to change to the element that the glove converts to chaos. So that's not an option. And that's also the same problem with Starforge. It's a random element, so we can't guarantee we'll get chaos. All right, there's nothing here that is insane. What about Axe? Rage could be interesting, I guess. But I don't know that they have... I think they have a max rage of like 0 or something, unless otherwise stated. Or either that or they're not affected by rage. I think minions have an interesting relationship with like rage, and it's not just plug and play. I have to check to confirm. And to just make sure we cross check everything. Yes, this guy has bleeding. Is what it is. All right. So there's no reason to not use a Pneumatic Dagger is what I'm saying. It was using Worm Flasks and used Ball Lightning with GMP and Poison on hits to trigger Virulence for Hoag. So you manually casted the Ball Lightning, but you use Worm Flasks to summon your Dancing Dervishes initially. For Horror of Agony, you need to scale Virulence to scale its damage. How good was the scaling on How good was the scaling on Dancing Dervish? Because the problem with Herald of Agony with other minions is, look at that sound. The problem with Herald of Agony with other minions is typically that Herald of Agony, other minion stats are wasted on Herald of Agony, so you would basically not get anything to maximize Herald of Agony. Whereas alternatively, if you had to get minion stats elsewhere, then Herald of Agony is not as strong as it could be. And getting Virulence for Herald of Agony meant the other guy was getting nothing. It was very good before they nerfed it many leagues ago. Do you remember what the nerf was like? I think we just keep the pneumatic dagger approach. So now I guess the question would be, how do we get this into an actual low budget variant? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. We're going to paste it here. Rename 3.26. We have to go low budget. Now, in a low budget scenario, we don't have all of this shit. So I'm going to just remove all of this because this is not low budget. By any means. At least this is not Leaguestart budget, I should say. It's definitely not, this is basically the POB I had for my high budget, but then I changed the Aegis gear, I think, something like that. I don't remember how I made this POB, but it wasn't from a low budget up like I do with my other low budget POBs. So let's just start like we were. Can I reset all tattoo nodes? How about I do this instead? It would be much easier to just do that. Create a new POB. Save as 3.26. Poison. Change of command. Low budget. Save. And just yank it back. And delete it from there. Change of command. This is the one and it's 14. I think it's supposed to be the card count. This says, let's really reread the wasp nest. Increase attack speed, accuracy, chance of poison 20%, and then added chaos damage against enemies affected by at least 5 poisons, which is most enemies. This is Enemy Guardian's weapon. So we do this. We do 14. All right, so it does count that. Good to know. First things first is we are fresh into maps. Nothing, we have no currency. How do we progress? But I guess let's just create a tree to start with. Necromancer, we're going to take Mindless aggression. A natural strength is free wither. Bone barrier is obviously mandatory. Commander of Darkness is big early game. Yeah, the elemental rares for you and your allies is really good for keeping minions alive and all those sort of things when you first get into maps. And odds are we are going to want to squeeze as much damage as you can, so Mistress of Sacrifice is not that great, so we do that. All right. Now they're all doing chaos, which means 15 wither stacks. All you have to do is wither once a second. Oh, wither once in 2 seconds, because we can have up to 14, and that's it. Important items for this would be the flask, writing jar. Writing jar. Double writing jar is pretty much very important. We're also going to relook at all these things. Actually, they're pretty standard. Then we'll craft a minion wand, and this should honestly be on the cheaper side, just because it'll be a convening wand. It's not going to have any levels, but it will have trigger and it will have tier 2 minion damage, and that's all it has. Trigger. What's up, wherever you are? Trigger, minion damage, that's all it has. And then for everything else, we're trying to get minion damage on your shield is priority. You don't care as much for levels. You do care about levels. It's just not good for damage. Levels are good to keep your AG alive, basically. Shield, ES, fossilized, life, minion damage. And res. It's changed the command so we don't have specters. We don't have to worry about any of that. No golems, nothing. Helmets. I don't think Bone Helmet has anything particularly great, but I'll check. It's armor ES. It does have the implicit, which is nice. I don't need levels. Okay, so I don't need a Bone Helmet then. I just need a regular helmet. What else do we have going for us? Our gloves need to be... It can be armor ES, it doesn't really matter, but what matters for the gloves is that I don't say we craft it, but we have crafting bench. Minions deal increased damage, prefix, max roll, and we also take the Staring Exarch influence for minions that increase damage bottom roll, and then we take life. I tier life. And of course, we're going to put this in our helmets. Animate Guardian. Minion life, because it's going to be very early in the league. You want him to be as defensive as possible. And Feeding Frenzy. Very important is we get accuracy, we get duration. He needs a grave bind, right? He has a grave bind. Yeah, he does have a grave bind. All right. There is also going to be mercenary that we have to take into account, but I don't think we need to worry about that too early. Accuracy rating, sure. Minions recover that. Minions have max res. All right. What else is important? This is like the core of things we need. We need a source of endurance charges, and so far it looks like good old AG over here is going to be our source of endurance charges from Victorious Charity. Not so much frenzy charges single target, but we'll have endurance charges. One thing we're going to 100% need, and I don't know how expensive this would end up being, so let's do some, I guess, market research. Yowie Ninja. Let's check unique accessories. I think it's Hateful Accuser. She was 5C day 1. Settlers. Penance Mark 15C. So it is cheap, so we 100% want Hateful Accuser. Do we? We don't need Hateful Accuser. So here's the quality of life that Hateful Accuser brings. It means we have a much more easier time of sustaining like both charges, single target, because we are also going to be summoning those things to get destroyed, which is big. But then alternatively, we could just double down on Writhing Jar, go Rislatha, which gives them 3 charges every 3 seconds, so it's a charge a second, and it only costs how many charges? 17 charges. I guess you probably can even, you can probably go for a increased charges, yeah, a reduced charges per use, and we get that to 16. So then on average it took you 16 seconds to get 2 worms, and you can use with between the 2 Writhing Jars, you'd be able to get 2, 4, 6, 8. You'd be able to get 8 worms, and then 16 seconds later you get another 4. But honestly, I'm just not a big fan of Writhing Jar gameplay without Hateful Accuser, so we will go Hateful Accuser here 100%. We might go Dodri's Damin as our second ring. That makes res a bit tight, but it does make it so we can pass Hateful Accuser as well as Despair, because we do want to have Despair. Now the question is, do I want regular gloves or do I want Vixen's Entrapment? Because Vixen's Entrapment is also going to be cheap unique. Vixen. Yeah, 5C at its peak, 1C at its lowest. So we can just get Vixen's Entrapment real quick. That makes it so that is big quality of life, because then we can cast Despair. We can cast Mark, and that gives us Despair, just by nature of it. Up to 100k DPS. Boots, amulets, rings. Amulets should be... We don't have Spectre, so Jinx Juju does nothing. What other budget amulets are there? Purple still does nothing because we're not doing lightning damage. Wasp Nest. Increase phase damage. Poison on hits. Decent added chaos damage. We all convert and we all wither. Belt is going to obviously be a Darkness Enthroned. We 75%. Can get something better later on. But we need it. We need the poison chance. I think all 4 empty slots would have to be rares, so we can more easily cap our resistances. These are quite a lot of uniques too, but it's just the nature of Chains of Command is a problem. Well, let's go helmets. Searing Exarch. Utah Worlds. So res goes there. We're going to try to not require dexterity on this setup. Boots. It doesn't really need any influence, I don't think. There's nothing influence that is mandatory. We just want movement speed, life, of course, resistances. Amulets. For the amulets, there are so many good choices, but for a true low budget setup, we'll just go for a rare amulet. Because the ones that would come to mind straight up just aren't great here. Jinx Juju is the biggest one, doesn't do much. Nothing along the lines of like CT breath matters. Also pricing could be too expensive. Like, it's probably not for a cheap one, like, I don't know. But for anything that's remotely serviceable, it's going to be more expensive than a few chaoses, so staying away from that. What other unique amulets am I forgetting? Yeah, that's about it. So we'll go for a rare amulet. This is gonna be the first time in a minion building quite a bit that I did not get a unique amulet. Jade amulet with life and res. Nothing else matters. Okay, not nothing else matters. We need anoints. What are anointed that are good with this setup? Let's open a second POB. And in this second POB, we can look at our other budgets. Let's do this one. This medium budget pretty much. We had armor. We didn't have great physical damage mitigation on this setup, if I remember correctly. So that is one thing I should try to solve. No, it's kind of decent. Let's turn off conditionals. Molten shell. 14k, not bad. But the problem is that uses unnatural instinct, light of meaning. We armor to get this fizz max. The moment I turn this off, yeah, not as bad as I thought, to be honest. All right. We obviously want, in the ideal universe, we're going to go for Blessed Rebirth and Life from Death. And we want them to have as much defenses as possible. Okay. Aside offering, I don't quite remember what we needed Eldritch Battery for. Like I don't quite know, so I'm probably going to ignore offering and do Desecrate. Flesh offering. Life tap. We are not going to be using any Giga regen. You know, we're not doing Mask of the Stage Demon, so we don't necessarily need Grave Intentions. Grave Intentions are nice, but it's not 100% needed. PDR is also really big, and so is Elemental Resistance early on. Let's do this. Convocation CDR. Then we need aura scaling. Oh, you already have life. Never mind. I was going for all the masteries, but it has life, so it wouldn't be that great. I might do this though. Besides, yeah, I don't think I need it. I've already life tapped. I have life tapped offering, and I don't think there's anything else that requires much attention there. I think unlike other setups, it's even more important for Chains of Command to get a 12 passive minion cluster even if he has nothing of interest except life. What is my block chance looking like? Nothing too great. Nothing too great. All right, body armor. What are support gems for our main skill? Because we've seen us supported it. Minion damage. Void manip. Not chance to poison. That will come from a ghastly eye jewel. Jesus Christ. Poison. This is low budget, so we're just going to do poison. That's the most important stat to get here. So we're just going to put poison. So that's what, 22%, give or take. Oh no, it's like 25. $26. So now that's 72%. So we need it at a minimum. At a minimum, we need 2 more jewel sockets. I mean, that's pretty easy to do. Then all we need is 12 passes and life on there. Literally all we need. And in there, we're going to have a medium cluster with minion life, 4 passive, blessed rebirth. And then enduring composure to round it out. Okay. So this and this are the sources of the extra poison I was talking about. That is 100% poison chance. Physical RF announced. They've announced something. Let me see. Bladefall of Trathos. They didn't ping people with that post. All right, let's look at the announcement first. Several Triton gems available as a reward for victorious duel with mercenaries. In this expansion, we've also made changes to existing skill and support gems. Today, we've prepared the gem data at level 20 with 20% quality with all new and changed gems to help you theory craft your builds for the upcoming launch. We can't wait to see what you come up with. Chain Hook or Thratus. Throws chains at up to 9 targets in range. Chain targets grant 1 rage when hit. Maximum chain length is this. Maximum 12 chains. I assume this is when hit by Chain Hook, because if not, this could be a decent support gem for minions. Rage gen minions. But it's I feel like it should be for the Chain Hook itself. Heavy Strike of Thratus, we saw this. We saw that already. Sunder of Thratus. Slams the ground, creating a slow shockwave of churning terrain that damages enemies in a sequence of areas in front of you. A number of enemies hit by the wave will release a shockwave, damaging other enemies around them. Using the skill again will stop the previous wave. When the wave reaches a target or terrain, it can restart aiming towards an enemy if one is in range. Huh? Shockwaves deal less damage. Wave causes shockwaves from up to 5 enemies in each area. Wave damages 4 areas. Wave has reduced delay between areas. Cannot stop before damaging 2 areas. Wave can restart up to 2 times. So it's like a worm in the ground. You do it and it just goes and seeks out enemies. Could be a cool gem to see in action. This should be something they tease with a video. Bladefall of Thratus. Once activated, continuously spend mana to cause volleys of ethereal weapon rain from the sky around you, dealing damage to enemies they impact. Each blade will target a separate enemy in the volley if possible. Each enemy can only be hit once by each volley. Even if multiple blades land near them, the skill cannot be triggered or used by totems of this. 5% of mana per second. This would be insane for animate weapon. The reason being, you click it, you skill ES, you go Eldritch Battery, you make sure your max mana is not that high, and then you click this and just profit. You literally always have ethereal knives. You don't have to worry about manually casting. It goes from a 2-button build to a 1-button build. It just gets summoned. That's kind of cool. I like it. I like that a lot. Bladefall. Okay. Blast Rain of Thratus. Fires a single arrow up in the air to rain down at a targeted location. The arrow deals area damage where it lands, as well as releasing a wave of fire, which will apply a burning debuff to enemies. The impact of the arrow also inflict this debuff. Make sure your mana doesn't get that high. Like yeah. Like your mana could be, if your ES is like 2k 3k and your mana is 1,000, that is fine. It's just in comparison to your ES, because it's 5% of your mana. So if it's 5% of your 1,000 mana, that is 50 mana per second. 50 mana per second requires 50 ES per second. I think Eldritch Battery cuts mana regen in half, or ES regen in half, which would put it at, to get 50 would have to be like 20%, a bit less, 16%. So let's just do this. Where's my calculator? So that is 1,000 times 0.05. 50 divided by 0.16, I think. So if you have over 312 ES, you're already chilling. So you only even need like 600 ES and you can sustain this with Eldritch Battery if you're not giving it additional cost. And this is only 1,000 mana character, so you don't even need to match him. You even need to match the ES, the mana with ES. This is less than half of it, and you're still chilling. This is the minimum you can have to sustain it. So if you have 1,000 ES, you're sustained, and then you have leftover ES for whatever else you're doing. Just saying. Blast Rain of Thratas. Fires a single arrow in the air, applies a burning debuff to enemies. The impact of the arrow will also inflict this debuff. Is this a Nova? It's not a Nova, so it might just be in one direction. Siege Ballista of Thratas. They expire after attacking one 7 max Ballista of summon totem. Summons 8 Ballista in a ring, which use the skill. Arrows pierce 9 additional targets. I mean, that's this guy. So you just summon them, they all pew! This could be a cool bossing build. I wonder how it would work, but it could be decent. Just being able to summon 8 shoots, dead 8 again, and you can have like some interesting on totem death effects, I guess. And then there's Spectral Helix. Throws a trap which once triggered fires a spectral copy of your melee weapon. It's a trap skill. It spins around while flying in a large spiral, damaging enemies in its path and bouncing if it collides with walls. If dual wielding, each trap thrown will randomly use either. Spectral Shield Throw of Thratas. Throws a spectral copy of your shield as a piercing projectile which deals offhand damage augmented by the defenses of the shield. When it reaches the targeted location, it will hover in place, repeatedly firing a number of smaller shards as projectiles in all directions. The rate at which it releases shards will increase until all shards have been fired. Modifiers that cause additional projectiles to be fired will add more shards, not more copies of the shield. Max of how many shields? There's no max number of shields you can have. Oh, that is interesting. What do you think about Spectral Shield Throw of Thratas? Spectral Throw of Thratas throws a trap, throws your weapon, then returns to where the trap triggered. Spinning attack that damages enemies in their path. Okay. And then for Dark Pact of Thratas, this spell deals chaos damage in an area around you. Casting it will cause you to gain ruin. If the spell inflicts your 7th ruin, it will sacrifice a large portion of your life to deal extra chaos damage based on the amount sacrificed and remove all ruin from you. Zero throw potential insane, might log into it later. It sounds interesting. I agree. Stormcall. Sets a marker after a delay. A bolt strikes the marker, dealing phase damage around it and causing bolts to strike at any other markers you've cast. Wait, causing bolts to strike at any other markers you've cast. Both impacts will leave behind a pool of boiling blood which deals phase dots to enemies within it for a duration. So you drop a marker, you drop another marker, you drop another marker, you drop another marker, and then once the secondary duration goes off, if it hits the first marker, then goes to hit all other markers. Like you just boom, 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 boom. That could be interesting. Wave of Conviction, we already saw that, and Focus Channeling, I think they already teased this. Updated gems. Sure, let's just show all differences. Our Make Guardian of Smiting stonks just went up as well, but like this is still shite. The AI is still bad. We can't do that. Flame Golem. Oh, I just added the AoE effect. Stone Golem is increased defense. But they buffed the increased damage as well. Increased defense, Sunder. Is this a buff or a nerf to Sunder? DD got nerfed. Maybe this is a buff. Who knows? Ice Golem has crits accuracy, or more crit and more and flat accuracy rather. This doesn't say the cooldown, but this does. Okay, no, this is cooldown. All right, I was just blind then. These are, I mean, this is, I think these are all just things we already knew. Chaos, res, and dots. $18 mana regen per second. Does that skill, or is it just okay? It's 2020. Buff the support as well. All right, everything else is kind of, this is all just the patch note things, but overall, animate weapon with blade fall of Thratus seems like it will be very interesting. It takes you from a 2-button to a 1-button build, and it's very easy to fix the downside if you go Eldritch Battery. So that's, I found this kind of cool. I like it. Now for non-animate weapon builds, I don't know how this will perform, but we'll have to see what people cook up, basically. We were PoBing before we started going over that. Ad break on Twitch is done, so it's a pretty good time to, yeah, it's a pretty good time to continue PoBing. I need to drop some points. I can think of somewhere I need points in. Oh, jeez. What is the easiest spot to drop points in? Probably here, to be honest. Actually, no, it's here. It's there. All right, we have that going for us, which is nice. Spell block is now slightly higher. We haven't started putting our auras in. We're in the process of adding support gems to the chest piece. Keep in mind, the chest piece doesn't even need to be linked. It just needs to be socketed, and it will support your anime weapons, your anime guardian weapons, all the same. And then Unbound Ailments is a no-brainer. Like, Ruthless is fine, to be honest. Ruthless is kind of fine. It leads to there being bursts, but at the same time, bursts aren't like the worst thing on the planet. 5% more damage with hits for each poison on the enemy, up to 8. Wait, what? Up to 8? So at 8, that is 40% more damage, and then there's more damage with poison, and then increased damage with poison. I feel like that's kind of strong, but let's see. Hello, Jared. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I was here to increase poison on the enemies. Do 8 because it's easy to get more than 8. And let's say Vow Toxins is faster attack seems to still out DPS it, huh? And of course, Ruthless out DPS is it. Okay, everything else is fine. I'm surprised faster attacks is beating out. I'm surprised it's beating out multi-strike, to be honest. I feel like multi-strike should have a decent shot. But it's not here for whatever reason. Melee phase is also good, but the less attack speed is whatever. Oh, this is Awakened, never mind. Let's see, what is multi-strike's downside? .7 versus, yeah, it's not even close. Why is it not showing me regular multi-strike then? Why is multi-strike wrong here? Is it because this is not included in full DPS? I don't understand this one bit. It is clearly more damage, but it's not calculating multi-strike's damage for all. Like, it goes from 2.4 to 2.7, so it's more, but like it's not recognizing that. I don't get it. Doing change of command also? Oh, that's nice. I'm not going to be starting change of command, but I am updating my change of command build because I've gotten a lot of requests for it. I think it's going to be a very decent league starter. I mean, we're already up to 2.7 on pretty low budgets, I would say. Everything here, the most expensive piece is probably change of command, or maybe Hitful Accuser, but both of these should be like within the 10C range. Change of command is a wild card. I'm not going to act like it isn't. Say 6 socketed change of command will be rough because of how much extra demand there is for change of command compared to a regular league. So like if I go to Ninja, change of command is probably very cheap. Was probably very cheap for settlers because, I mean, who's league starting change of command realistically? .2C, 3C, it is still common, so like it's fine. That being said, with the increased popularity, I see this going up to like 5C, but that's still cheap because it's still a common chess piece, you know. I haven't done it before, not sure how expensive the unique one starts. They're typically very cheap. The only question is this guy, because this people are talking about change of command, so it's possible that the unique ends up being expensive day 1, but worst case scenario day 2 it's probably still going to be cheap because it's a very common unique that many people who are not playing it will want to sell. Okay, I'm back. So this is going to be on the cheaper side. Going through the uniques, these are going to be on the cheaper side. This is going to be like 1C. This is like, my estimate is like under 10C day 1, and then day 2 it's probably cheaper than that. No streamer that I know of is league starting change of command, so I don't see it being like obnoxiously expensive or anything like that. So this should be fine. Then Vix's Entrapment is like 1C. Hateful Accuser should be 15C or less. I don't remember the exact number I saw for Settlers, but Hateful Accuser should not be more expensive this league than it was last. I know RF gamers also like it, but 15C and then it dropped. So Hateful Accuser is not a popular ring, so that is also going to be on the cheaper side. And then we have Darkness Enthroned, which is depending on the effect roll you get, that determines if like how expensive it is. And at 75%, well, you're looking at, I don't know, 75% is probably going to be around like 20C or something. So like this is, or maybe like, because this is a very widely used unique across the minion archetype. That is why this is likely going to be the most expensive unique on this board. And then Writhing Jar is 1C, maybe less. It's probably, it's likely going to be less. It's not common, but 1C. And then everything else, this is not 1C. This is a decently expensive one, but this is like 50C, maybe less. And the reason it's 50C is because people are trying to get +1, +2 ones, because every minion build loves like levels, but Chains of Command doesn't care too much for levels. It's likes it because it makes the AG tankier, but it's not the most important stat. The most important stat for Chains of Command is increased damage. So all you're looking for is a one that has a decent roll for increased damage, and that's literally it. You just craft trigger and you profit. Shield, same thing. Life, minion damage. Maximize your implicit, by the way. I should have done that for this one. Implicit, maximize, implicit, maximize. I keep forgetting to adjust it. Crown. Praetor Crown. I forgot to put life on that, on these. Life. Save. You just need life. It's gonna be dirt cheap. Life, I mean, keep in mind you want res on this, res on this. Shield should be on the more expensive side than you want, to be honest, because some people I can see some more minion builds saying, okay, I don't mind losing out on the levels, we'll go opt for the damage instead. More minion builds are open to losing the plus level here than here. So this will probably be more expensive than this, especially if you're going for res. But you can get res here, you can get res here. We have a rare amulet, you can also get res here. You have a second ring, you can get res on. And like I said, everything here should be very affordable. League starts, give or take, you just take down a minion damage roll a bit if it's out of your budget at the time. Nothing here should be even close to a divine, unless you're looking on like the first 5 hours or something. Nothing here should be even close to a divine. We are also not done with this. We haven't touched auras. I would like a source of envy, but there's no cheap source of envy. There is no source of envy from King's March anymore. And the amulet is on the more expensive side. So I think we just have to skip envy for now and maybe pick it up in the higher budgets. That's what I'm thinking. Without envy, we can get malevolence. So that is a must-have. Is this setup for overall mapping / bossing, or are you focused on a certain thing? I'm honestly, on this setup, I'm focused on just performance. It should be able to clear, it should be able to boss. Both bossing is on the rougher side for animate weapon in general, but it should still be able to do it, which is why we're using a Hateful Accuser. That's the whole point of the ring, and the Writhing Jar. Probably do 2 of them too. This is just to help with that initial bossing phase, so the bossing experience is a bit smoother, because then this allows you to resummon your swords as many times as needed. And Blessed Rebirth doesn't let them die for the first 4 seconds. It's kind of the idea there. But for mapping, it should be very comfortable. Basically, how you start your map. This is legit how Chains of Command plays. You press 1, your AG kills 1, 2, like the worms that spawn. You press it again, it kills the worms. Now you have like 3 to 4 swords up, and then you just run. And from this moment on, you're smooth sailing. Now, here is a second thing that you should be wary of with chains of command. And this is why I typically would not recommend this for a league starter, but if you want to league start, this is how you do it. The reason I would not typically recommend it is, as much as I said everything here is on the cheaper side, you still have to actually equip your AG with shit. And everything here is cheap, except that body armor. Grothclaw's pelts is known for being expensive, on the more expensive side day one. It is on the more expensive side, and realistically, now that we can allow our anime guardian die, we're going to probably drop Grothclaw's pelt and go for Cospray's Will or something. Cospray's Will. This gives him Giga Chaos Res, so we can drop this one, I think. And because we dropped that, okay. Medium Cluster Joe, you probably want life. You want life from death then. All right. By going Cosplay's Will, we now have Chaos Res for him, so that Chaos Res node is less important. This is going to be a very cheap unique. So now the most expensive piece of this, and we can now instead go for, what boots are even great here? Nothing is amazing. Probably get like rare boots with life and res or something. Because maybe you want to just get something that has not brittle. Brittle is not great. Sapped could be decent. Probably just do something along the lines of boots, influence, sapped ground, brittle ground, sapped ground, yeah, sapped ground, and hope he applies it to the boss, because if the boss is sapped, then he's doing less damage and you are just automatically tankier as a result or as a byproduct. And then past that, you just want to give him % life regen, as high of a roll as possible. And then you want to give him either or works. He's an AG, so % life regen is probably just the best. And then this is all you're going to give him: Leviathan Greaves, AG, boots. Save. Take this all the way up with other AG gear. Now everything here is cheap. Cosplay's Will is like a chaos. This would cost you like a bit less than 10C, and most of that currency would be in getting your implicits. The base type doesn't matter. You just care about the life regen. And maybe sapped ground. It's not that important. Like, I don't think the uptime on AG is that great, but it's the best we have for boots. Because this gives us +1 curse. So we don't need what's his face? Why do we even need this? Wait, let me think real quick. This allows him to apply an extra curse. Oh, this is if we decide to get temporal chains on hits. That is on the expensive side. All right, we're not going to do that. We're instead going to just, where's Gravebind? Non-corrupt. Delete. Gravebind. A non-corrupted Gravebind. Let me just make sure nothing here snuck in expensive shit. Victorious Charity should be uncorrupted as well. Replica Victorious Charity. Learcast, are you corrupted? No. Cosplays, none of you are corrupted. All right. Is it worth going for a good rare weapon / item for AG now that it doesn't lose anything, or the unique still better? I would say the unique is better, because to get a half decent rare weapon, you spend way more than just picking up a unique like Wasp Nest.
Oh shit.
Mine just came out of fucking nowhere.
I need you to TLDR that DM.
Give me a second.
You'd be skipping all the news today.
Who, me?
This is big. This is Recombinator and Sanctum.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
I shall be there soon. But yeah, just get unique weapons, and then when we go for medium and high budget for this same build, that is when we go for rare weapons. I do need to briefly look at all those, everything that is in my higher budget versions to make sure nothing has changed, but like this is basically what that version looks like. This is the high budget version, and it uses a rare crafted dagger. I crafted this last league with recombinators. Oh yeah, I remember what my dagger does now. It's literally my dagger. It was my dagger in game. Anyways, I crafted it. A very similar dagger in game with just recombination, the old recombination or recombinator. So it's very doable, but it's expensive. So this is why we're going to use darkness until we have the currency to swap to something like this. Now there are lots of upgrades we can get around this, but this is going to be like the biggest. This is going to be the biggest DPS boost item you can get on your AG. You get this, and your damage skyrockets. Like literally just instantly skyrockets, but it's an expensive item to craft. So it's one of those things where you're going to use the low budget and try to amass as much currency as you can. You upgrade things here and there to make it so you're tankier and whatnot, but ultimately you're saving up for this, for the dagger craft, and then when you get enough currency to do it, your damage blows up. It's kind of how it goes for Chains of Command. It's not the most linear curve, which is why it's not the greatest league starter, but it's doable. All right, what news am I reacting to now? Did you send me the link? Lol, man.
Word for word.
Man is spamming me GIS.
I sent 3. I didn't spam. I sent 3.
My guy, anything more than 1 is spam.
Rasham got 12, but he's asleep, so he gets to wake up to it.
Lol. News. It's not in news. It's just not.
It's in the updated patch notes. The screenshot was right there.
I know the screenshot is right there, but I want to go to the patch notes. Thank you. All right. New patch notes, Sanctum rewards changes. The Sanctum room rewards, which allow you to defer currency to the end of the floor or end of the Sanctum, now have a lower chance to contain high tier currency like divine orbs. Holy. And on floor 3, those currency items no longer appear with stack sizes greater than... Okay. Oh fucking okay. The ease of completing Sanctum relative to the rewards is mismatched, and this puts it more in line. We are intending to do a grander pass to the rewards and content of Sanctum in a future expansion, where we will also be adding an exclusive reward to Sanctum to give it more identity, instead of exclusively producing raw currency. Holy shit, that is a gut if I've ever seen one. Jesus. So now you're less likely to get divines in lower floors than 3, and when you do get it in floor 3, it's limited to stack sizes of 1, so you're getting 1 divine compared to what you were getting before. Oh fucking 7. All right, number 2 change, recombinator. Oh god, wow, oh god. I guess we should have seen this one coming, eh? Let's see how old recomb changes. The recombinator, when using the now unpredictable recombination method, will result in fewer modifiers on the item on average if the input items were using many modifiers that cannot normally. This is destruction of recombination. This is just blowing it up. We can't recomb craft anymore. That's a bit dramatic, but it's not. You know how to get lucky is what this is sounding like. For example, veiled modifiers of this should result in very top end becoming less optimal for creating the best items without affecting the average use cases. The change was made after the live stream Q&A based on feedback with the intention of bringing down the top end recombinator power without affecting the majority of users. This doesn't change the maximum you can
Did it
produce.
really affect the average use cases?
It will affect
Wasn't the average use
everybody.
case the case we were using?
I mean, we were the top
Like
end as
really
well.
that?
We were the top end. I guess what they're trying to do is what they're trying to
We
say. I
already
think
have the pick smash, right?
yes, we do.
Shouldn't this be a little bit more deterministic with like high entry costs?
They said no. So gone are the days of getting 12 links with recomp.
Okay, so this should have happened, right? This should have happened. Because crafting those kind of items should literally be insane, right? That's what they want in the game.
I mean,
But like those items weren't free too, to be honest. It took so much to get there. You could miss.
It was a lot of mental effort to work your way through all those steps and get to the final item, and now you just don't do it. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I get why they made the change, but I really, really, really enjoyed the possibility of just being able to save up currency and know that I can get my 12 link. I hated the way 12 link crafting was in the past, which is just you throw a bunch of currency, you pray on what you get, and if you don't get what you like, you sell it and you try again. I hate that so much.
That's back, I guess.
What's that?
What it means is that I'm just not gonna be rolling these builds.
Yeah, I'm not doing 12 links anymore, basically. Like basically that's
figure something out.
Like that's just the truth of the matter, because like this is basically saying that I assume it's saying that for items where you are going for like triple prefix or triple suffix, you should be relatively fine. But for going for like a complete 10 mod or 5 mod item, you get fucked. That's how this reads.
Fine. Okay, if triple prefix is fine, honestly, I'm okay with that.
That's my assumption.
The question is, why not just do the other way then?
That's my assumption. Remember, it could still be fucked. This is my assumption. They might be saying, "Oh yeah, just if you want 2 mods and you don't want to destroy the base, you can do it this way." Like,
it's a big change. It actually literally changes my Leaguestart. So now I'm actually just going to RF. It doesn't matter because my axe isn't deterministic. Sad.
Like I said, I understand where they're coming from.
It needed to happen, but I just feel like this is like a nuke. Here's the problem with them bringing this up. If the fact that they hadn't thought about this before the interview made me worried that we'd get like a nuke change.
I mean, this might be a nuke change.
Well, that's what I think. I think this is what I was expecting when they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with recoms?" And then ZKD had to explain it to them. I'm like, "Oh fuck." Well, Mark, if you don't even know what it is, but before he says it, it is what it is. You're just gonna destroy it because you're not gonna come and be like, "Yeah, now you're average." You know what I mean? Like, what were they gonna do if not nuke it after they said that?
Because like here's the problem I'm seeing with recom with this change, right? I'm thinking of how 3 suffixes and 3 prefixes crafts were going before. You would typically get the modifiers you wanted on your suffixes, right? And then you'd go, let's say 2 suffixes on one, 2 suffixes on the other, and then you go like can have up to as the exclusives, and then you fill up you try to get as many exclusive prefixes as you can, and then you send it. This says it should result in fewer modifiers on the item. So that means before it would get 3 modifiers. It would get, if in a successful scenario, you'd get 4 modifiers. You get the ones that you wanted, the base ones, and then the exclusive. If it's fewer than that, one of your modifiers has gone. Just guaranteed. Or almost guaranteed, I should say. So it might be a two mod crafter now, which then brings the question, why do that when you can just do the new one? Because the tiers are high, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, it's an 07. recom crafting is it's limping is the best way I can put this, to my understanding at least. We'll have to see how it actually feels, but it's going to suck that if I can't, because like there are some really interesting expensive crafts I could do with recom last league that were just fun because it allowed me to do it. For example, if I wanted to go, I remember that I made a build for Freesia. I theory crafted an idea where I would go Puppeteer, and I think Puppeteer had something ES related where it was, I can't remember what the Puppeteer node was. What was it? I don't put it. It was max life as extra ES. Now I remember. And then I would go basically Giga Life, Giga ES, then make a shield with recoms that would be recover life and recover ES hybrid on the same shield and profit on block. Recover life and ES on block.
Sage.
That was like such a, and that is not a niche. Like that is a very niche thing, and it wasn't a 6-link item. But if I can't make that anymore, that just sucks. You know, like it then brings the question: why should I recomp? Do I just pray with the new one and have to just gather items on items on items because it's just destroying my bases? Which, by the way, I really hate that gameplay loop as well. I really hate the loop of having items destroyed.
I wanted to tell you that they did say many modifiers that cannot roll naturally. So maybe we can do it to some extent now.
Like I said, it all depends on. Remember, many modifiers that cannot normally.
Know for a while.
But remember, that's the thing. Remember this. When you're going for 3 mods, you're filling it with as many non-native modifiers as possible. So at a minimum, you have 6. I think that qualifies as many.
That's sad.
Like that is the problem. It's like the way you would get the items uses the thing they are trying to nerf. So unless they want it to be a 2-mod situation going on there, which again begs the question: what's the difference with the new one? Except this one is going to destroy both my bases when I could, and then this one is going to take more actual currency. So I'm not a fan, but we'll see to the extent at which this was nerfed. Because like think about it this way: when you're going for 12 link items, by the last craft, you realistically only have like 3 non-native modifiers, because your suffixes are like 2 to 1, so that one has like 1 1 or 1 2. That's 3 already, and then prefixes are like now match like the 1 2 or something like that. And the goal there is just actually no, it's 1 1 and then 2 prefixes with different prefixes. So yeah, it's still the same 6. Everything else can be found on those bases, which is the whole point of what you're trying to do. So that means you're fucked. Enjoy your dinner. Recomp is an 07. It is what it is. We saw it coming. Sad that it happened, but it happened. And it is what it is. All right, where were we in our low budget? Ring. I think it was just going to be a ring. Where is this? Ring, amethyst, life, and then you get res on it to the best of your abilities. And then the triple flask, honestly, you just do quicksilver, quartz, and then past that, probably a Rumi's concoction with some attack block chance, so that your block chance goes up when it's up. Then We are in desperate need of more. We're in desperate need of more. Whatchamacallits? Oh, 14. All right. We are in desperate need of more sockets, or because I haven't done anything here. More auras, to be precise. So that's malevolence. I think it's a purity of elements angle as well. Now, DPS wise, I don't think there are many auras that I can actually use. I'm not going to blast. I'm not going to generosity malevolence because the duration also helps with animate weapons. I have an idea. I don't know how well this would work, but I have an idea. Let's watch the DPS numbers. I would have to drop you for you, and that gives me skill effect duration. How long do they last is the question. They last 46 seconds now. Then drop the 12 link, make it an 8. That saves me some points. That allows me the opportunity to travel here and go more skill effect. 96. Now I need to shave off a point or two. I would prefer it to not be from here, but for now it will just have to be, and I will look into it later. So now we go spirit offering, and we test which of this has, which is the weakest link. Is rootless without the shadow of a doubt. All right, since rootless is the weakest link, we then go fresh meat. And then we go, is fresh meat active? Yes. 2.7. That means you will need vicious bites as like one of your only modifiers, and realistically you do that, something like that. It's still 2.8. It's not great, and this is 6 seconds of uptime on fresh meats. The older version was better because it was in 3 mils. All right, I mean, to be fair, I was looking for auras. We can also still do precision. 3.2. But precision was always on the table regardless. What is your crit chance? 50%. More or less. What is your accuracy? Nah, it was better the other way around. 14. I hate that we have to do this every single time. But yeah, 3.18 level 90. I'd rather have this. And it also allows me to have this guy, which is also helping me with my res. And then for you, we go purity of elements. And like we said, precision. That's 3.5. Without precision, was that accuracy capped? Is the next question. No, I wasn't. So that makes this even bigger of a DPS boost because accuracy, less so the crits. Okay. I mean, I think that's fine. Are you at 100% poison chance? Oh, you are. Boots, despair, gloves. Honestly, I'm thinking about it. And this might just be a generosity angle. Like, sure, I lose the skill effect duration and that kind of sucks. But I refresh them so much that it shouldn't matter too much. And this should be a very decent DPS boost. And then in the same boot, we get purity of elements again. Just unlinked. That's 3.7. We have decent res without any configs and without any suffixes being used as far as I can tell. This is just the uniques. What uniques are giving me res right now? This is giving me chaos res. Where's my source of res currently? I know my ascendance is giving me res. We have some nodes giving me fire res, purity of elements, commander of darkness. You know, between these two, that's already 70 something res. That's fair. And then the nodes with a shield. Yeah, okay. That's a fair bit of res to just be at without any form of res on gear, just 40%, you know? So it means gearing is going to be very chill. Capping your chaos res could be on the easier side as well, simply because, I mean, we have amethyst ring, I guess. So we have res here, 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 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas we can have res on. So yeah. Now we need to figure out, we're level 90, so we can put some extra points, a few extra points to be precise, to increase my block chance in the ideal universe. Or what do you call it? Or more jewels. I think my block chance is atrocious. So I think my anoint is going to be as the mountain. That's one of the better nodes to anoint for block chance. That pushes us to 45, 43. For spell block, we can go here, but we are naturally going up there, so I don't want to force it. I think for this build, you'd want to have a mercenary that has determination aura. Determination aura and any war cry that helps them in the slightest should be nice to have. Because like if you have determination aura, then Fizz Max it becomes a bit better. I can't simulate that because I have no idea what stats the mercenary would have if he has determination, but I do know they come with auras, so there should be one with determination. How much armor are we stacking? Not a lot. Not a lot. We do have some ES, but not that much. What area can we get to in 5 nodes that would increase our survivability? There aren't too many, so what we're going to do instead is buff up our life sources. That is genuinely one of the better things I could do. I don't pay 95. I'll put 94. 94 low budgets. Something like this. We are hitting near 4 mil. I'm not a big fan of this Fizz Max hits, but it's fine. Because we're still going to have a defensive skill. But still not the biggest fan. Still not the biggest fan. I should just put it out there, but we can only do so much on this type of a budget because this is already the build as a whole is over divine just because of the nature of chains of command, and it's more currency than I would typically have a low budget build being, but that's just because of the nature of chains of command. Automation. So with the defensive, it's a bit higher. Then stat wise, we're chilling actually because we have intelligence, we have strength, and it's only dexterity we need to find on gear. So our suffixes are doing really well, to be honest. It's very chill. Heal charge. Do we have access to Frostblink? Oh yeah, I forgot to activate Feeding Frenzy. There, we're actually at 4.3 mil. Rootless, I think, still goes. I'm not sure Rootless is good enough. It says Rootless is that great, but is it really? I mean, better than everything I'm seeing so far. And for once, it does look like it's checking most of the typical sources. Where's melee fizz? But how you tell me Rootless is better than Awaken melee fizz? Like, it's not possible. I mean, even ignoring the intimidates, this is 4.2. Rootless 4.3. Holy, so you're saying it is without... Okay. Credit where credit is due. Credit where credit is due. It's mostly because of the ailment, I think, that Rootless is so good, because of the Rootless blow dealing more damage with ailments caused by melee hits, as well as doing more melee damage. It's kind of double dipping in the hits, is getting more damage, and the ailments getting more damage. That is why it's so great, in case you're wondering. I'm not the biggest fan because it's every 3 hits instead of consistent DPS. It's like smaller hit, big hit, smaller hit, big hit. I'd rather have, you know, medium. It feels better to see than having chunks. But I get it. Now, added chaos damage, are you also the best bet there? Y'all have forgotten how to calculate everything else. Okay, so this is basically our single biggest source of damage, so we're not touching that. What is our weakest link? It's looking like it's void manipulation. Actually, still rootless is the funny thing. It's still fucking rootless. And Vow Toxins doesn't beat it. I'm surprised Vow Toxins doesn't compete, even with 8 poisons. It's still not up to rootless. It surprises me genuinely. And then of course, if nothing else is competing with, why is multi-strike not showing DPS? I don't understand it. I had to manually find it because I knew it'd be more damage and faster attacks, and it was, but it was recommending faster attacks over multi-strike. So unless multi-strike is bugged in PoB, it doesn't make sense. Or maybe I did something, I don't know. I don't see anything I could have done, but it's nothing that makes sense. Weapon 2. All right. Overall, I think this is a pretty good setup. Frostblink, Despair, Frostblink. What else can go on gloves? What else do I need on this build? We don't have Convocation. If I went the fresh meat setup, I would have had to go Ancient Skull. I don't know how expensive Ancient Skull is day 1. Let's see. Unique armor. Ancient Skull. Day 1. Should be cheap, right? 2C to 1C. Would have had to do this. But then I'd have to skill max power charges to really benefit from it, which, I mean, is not that big of a deal seeing as I'm already scaling max endurance charges. I just have to pick up this, pick this up. They're all within range. Anoint this. Where the fuck are you? Bro, there. Anoint that's now 6 max power charges, which then gets me to 300% increased crit for minions, as well as fresh meat and all of that. That sounds like it's a lot of damage. I'll be very honest with you. So let's try it out. Let's just play around with that idea. We're going to end up squishier for it, which is the big problem. You remember how I said this phase max it was a problem? It would get lower the moment I drop this helmet. It would get much lower the moment I drop this helmet. But DPS wise, that is the most DPS. I think this is enough DPS. Now you guys could disagree, but I think this is enough DPS, and this is enough. Like, this is a decent middle ground for DPS. Let's add resistances. And then do this cap, resists, and dexterity with open suffixes. So this is what our max hits actually look like. Again, not great, but for what we have going on here as low of a budget, I think it's fine. This is more than enough DPS to do your 4 void stones. If anything, I would still like to get more PDR, but how can we get more PDR without expanding the budget is the question. We have almost 5k life, so life pool is not that big of an issue. We have endurance charges. We could try to scale more armor and then go determination. Maybe the plan actually is, instead of armor ES bases, we should go for pure armor bases. But the problem is this is ES and this is armor ES. So even then it's whatever, you know. And the armor will still not be great, but at least we can rely on our our mercenary for armor. Mercenary. It's basically the same mercenary as I had on my other build. So I'm just going to copy what I wrote there. High budgets, notes. We're going to remove the smite parts. We don't care about smite. Poison, change the command, low budget. Bonus points if they have determination. Or envy. I doubt they'll have envy, but they could have determination. Auras. Then we have to make envy blue because it's an int gem. I doubt we'll see envy, but determination I think is not that unlikely. And then this would give you fortification, but I don't, on a low budget, I don't think you will have it. I don't think you will have it by the low budgets. You're just getting into maps, you haven't killed that many mercenaries, you haven't seen that many, you haven't, you know, rolled the slot machine that many times, so you probably don't have it, just straight up. So I'm not going to add it to the config because I think it's unrealistic to have it, but at least it being there shows, it says what they tells people what they should be looking for in terms of mercenaries. Are there any other ways I can think of? We can't use anything like Jinx Juju, which is typically the go-to. We can't use Jinx Juju because we have no Spectres. I mean, we don't have no Spectres because Chains of Command. We can't use Golems, even though, I mean, they actually already nerfed the Golems, so like we couldn't use Golems anyways, but even if we could, we couldn't use it because Chains of Command. Is there anything we can put on our AG to make him more, to make us tankier, that is not break the bank expensive? There's stuff we can put on our mercenary, like Combs binding belts. That would make us tankier for Fizz, but it's not the most reliable, so I don't want to use that. Max endurance charges were kind of already there. Ambush charge could be an option, but we don't know if ambush charge is gonna work. So if it worked, then 100% we go the ambush charge routes. How much is ambush charge is now the next question. Ambush charge was just 1C, non 6 link. Maybe even 6 link would probably have been on the, okay, it's more expensive. But yeah, we'd only care about ambush charge. And the reason we care about it is if we are considered party members as our mercenaries, then we can use this to give us max endurance charges, and then we can just go with him having max endurance charges. And then we can actually get like 5, 6, 7, 8 endurance charges. You know, we can actually stack it pretty well on him, but I don't think that is going to be a budget option either. Even if we get this cheap, the things we would need for max endurance charges would be stuff like +1, +2 like endurance charge boots, which would be expensive early. We can't get that early. We can maybe get Warlord and try to alt rule it to save money, but it's still going to be a few chaoses. We can get the staff, but odds are he's not going to have a favored weapon type for staff, so he can't use the war staff anyway. So that is, we can't get +2 there. Even if we were to get the +1 from the boots cheap, that puts him at 4. We would have to use something like the brutal charge belts that has +1 to get him to 5. How do we get him to 6? Because right now we're at 5. There's no DP, there's no tankiness increase by being at 5. He needs to be at 6 to see any gain. Where else was I getting endurance charges for in that setup? Oh yeah. Comb signs. Comb signs. That would then put us in the 7 endurance charge range, which would be 2 endurance charges more than usual, and that'd be some damage reduction at least. So it all depends on ambush charge. And then because we just save points there, we would no longer need to pick this up or this, and we can cut these points and instead spec a bit more into armor, go determination ourselves, do stuff like that in general. But alas, we are here. We also do not have instant leech at this point, which is not great. We need instant leech if we're going to be this low budget. So I guess the question is which instant leech? We have, you are 5 points away and you are 4 points away. So you are closer actually. So we probably try to get that one. The more I look at this, the more this cluster jewel just looks like it should be going down. Which enemy weapons could use trigger skills? I mean, in the ideal universe, they would have been able to. It would have been so insane what we could have been doing with them, like over the course of the past few years. And now with the star collar, whoo, would have been insane. By the way, how you doing, Asaronian? It's been a minute. Let's reduce this to. Let's just reduce this to 8 passes. I think we have enough damage to where I don't mind pulling away from some of the damage. I don't mind doing that in an attempt to get more defensive. Now the question is, we're not going to be level 99 low budgets, that's for sure. So something's got to give. You are the first option. $94. I'm not trying to lose max hits, so let's not take away any more life, shall we? We'll drop that. Yeah, okay. That is fine, I guess. Oh, jeez. Doing fine? Glad to hear it. Do you know what your league starting yet? I think 93 is fine for a low budget, but 8K. Where's our defensive? 8 to 11K. Why does our chaos max it? Oh, it's defensive. I thought this was block. I guess we could also see. I don't want to take away any more res, because if we were to go like a unique shield, maybe we could get something that actually would help our single target. Or if we were to go like a red shield, an armor shield, that could give us a decent chunk of armor and then go that way. But I don't want to lose more minion damage. Hey, they say yawns are contagious. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Amulets that mention minions in some way, shape, or form. I guess I could do the anvil. I could do anvil because it just gives me a chance to block, and I need all the chance to block I can get. I get life on block, and then I have some maximum chance to block. Okay. I'd rather have this than the Jade Amulets, truth be told. That puts us at 58.45, and then with this guy, 70.53. Not to mention the life on block. I think this is a better state to be. Now we are getting to the point where res can begin to be an issue, because now the amount of slots we have for res are kind of on the lower side, but we do have a lot of res support from our tree and skills. So I'm inclined to believe I still have the space, but let's just look how much res do we actually need. We need like 26 and 35 of these two, but those are values we can get on, like we can cap like 2 of these on one item, and then we can cap the other one on another item, and then chaos res. We don't have to cap chaos res, but we have to cap chaos res for low budget. So I think we're still fine. The problem with dexterity, because you wouldn't want to get your precision too low that you're not capped on accuracy either. So that's like the big thing. You don't want your precision to, you know, be too low level. So we do need a decent sort of dexterity. Is there any unique I can drop? If I drop fixins, it could work, but then I drop despair, and that is not a great idea. Not a good idea at all. Not even slightly. I'm not using minion power charge helmet. No, I am not. I feel like that would leave me too squishy. It could be more DPS, but it would be too squishy. And I think 4 mil for a low budget is enough DPS. I don't think we need to push I don't think we need to push offenses anymore at 4 mil. I think defenses need to come up a bit. But I think overall this is a decent spot for it to be. I would just like to see a slight increase in the phase max. That is all. Like to see a slight increase there without our defensive activating. Without defensive, we're already kind of chilling. And honestly, this is probably just enough. And I should start revising the other guys. Revising the high budget variant of this. But yeah, this build is a poison. It's poison basically, so we don't necessarily need the crits. The crit would increase our on hit, which is nice, but we don't necessarily need the crit. And on the high budgets, we can honestly giga charge crits and just go for what's his face. We can giga charge crit and go for. My version is still poison elemental, so that'd be what I would go for. But I do see I think I will PoB later on a Void Forge setup. But yeah, this is essentially supposed to be everything is cheap. You have a cheap AG, as cheap as the AG can get, as cheap as you can get, and like there's nothing here giving level, sadly. AG is level 20. Even though I'd like him to be higher than that, he's level 20. It is what it is. I guess the wasp nest also gives life per enemy hit, so that should be some survivability for the swords. But compared to how much life minions have, 40 life is less than a drop in the bucket. What is your duration? 32 seconds. I wouldn't want to drop the duration nodes here, simply because if I drop them, as much as I'm not using fresh meat, if I had to drop them, I would feel kind of awkward going from pack to pack. Also, can I fit another aura, or is this just it? I think my gloves take clarity. I think that's the comfy option here. Just like a level 4 clarity or something. Make sure I have everything I need. Disperse cast when I cast Penance Mark. What else do I need to manually cast? I guess Penance Mark would be the thing. But Penance Mark is how much mana? 29. Despair is 29 as well. So if I cast, that's like 40. That's like 60 mana. All right, so we basically can't go much lower than this. So maybe level 5. Nah, level 5 is too low. We'll keep level 4 clarity. All right. All right. Okay. I think this is fine. Alternatively, what if I were to do Tempest Shield? I think that'll be too much. Yeah, that'll be too much. And we can't use Enlighten because that's still outside the budget of this setup. You know what we could do? What if we did Discipline? Please tell me Discipline can work. No, god damn, it's still way too much. That is annoying. What if I did this? Slightly more Fizz max it than not. If I could fit Discipline, that might not have not been a bad idea, but I can't fit it in. Maybe going for a bigger ES pool so I can do it is a decent idea. All right, I think this is fine. We now have changed the command low budgets at the very least. Now, for medium budgets, I think this is just fine. I kind of already have the next budget past this. Can I remember what it is? Where's my... I'd have to check my channel. What does the medium budget look like? Corrupted Chains of Command, not bad. Font of Thunder, Unetals, if it's affordable. I think this is fine. Still uses Darkness Enthroned as well. +1 minion. Now that they've nerfed Recom, this is less feasible. Like with nerfed Recom, that just... With nerfed Recom, that kind of sucks. Genuinely. But it is what it is, and this is what the weapon looks like. The first crafted dagger you can get, which is... I think to get this, if I remember correctly, it is essence with... What was the essence again? You essence until a second mod and free, and then you clear your suffixes and you go from there. Let's see which gem is green. Now tell me what the essence is supposed to be. Flat Fizz. Is Flat Fizz an essence? Or is it increased fizz? Let me just confirm. Okay, Flat Fizz is an essence. So you just Flat Fizz until you get T1 chaos damage, which is also not that low weighting. And I mean, this isn't ideal, but you go until chaos, or you go until flat other element. I would go until chaos because chaos is only one tier and it's T1. And if you had to go something else, you might not be happy with your number. And seeing as I'm going to be giving my animate guardian the thing, you know, that is where that comes from. So you do that, get your chaos damage, and then from there it is benchcraft, literally. Like, this is not the PoB. Neither is that. Where is it? Yeah. And then past that, it's can have up to 3 crafted, attack speed, and then hybrid fizz, poison on hit. So yeah, this one is a relatively cheap craft compared to the alternative. And I think if I remember correctly, you only need to care about lightning res and chaos res, which was what I was trying to go for. So suffix pressure is less of an issue. So could fit as many auras as possible. It's still a bit expensive as a setup, to be honest. It has like Amanamu's immutable force. It's what I did last season, and it is pricey, but it's cheaper than the high budget. I think this was the high budget, right? This was such a comfortable build. By the way, I'm petrified here. So is my AG. This was the map where I was just like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to do just any mod we see on T17s. Like, I couldn't move, my minions couldn't move. It was a whole mess. But this was a comfy build. And then this is basically how it plays. You get in your map, you press your flask, that summons a worm, your AG kills the worm, and then you just go from there. You don't have to press any more buttons. You have explodes going through your screen. Everything is dying. Life is good. I don't remember which budget this was, but I do remember loving the explodes. Like, the explodes felt so good. That is my favorite part about playing Chains of Command, the explode. Strong box farming. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this league. It's been so long since I actually, not so long. I guess there was free share. Like it's been a minute since we had an actual new league with new content and shit. So looking forward to it. Anyways, this is going to be the low budget for that. All right. In case anybody in chat is wants to have the POB, this is the low budget. By the way, Answeronian, I don't know if I missed it. Do you know what your league starting yet? But I'm going to be league starting Pure Spectres, Wretch Defilers to be precise. This is my league starter for 3.26. This is the leveling variant, bro. Leveling, low budget. I like where the low budget is at here. This is without defenses, but this is, of course, without the limitations that Change of Command has. Then this is where it's going to be spicy. This is such an expensive setup, the high budgets, but it is so tanky for how expensive it is. Like, I can't wait to actually see how tanky and how much GPS this version has. I hate that POB can't calculate Reg Defiler DPS. Like, it is what it is. Like, it annoys me, but it is what it is. Defiler's too eye tiring for me. I mean, fair, but keep in mind, there's they buffed Defilers this league, or I shouldn't say they buffed Defilers, they buffed Eyesight this league by nerfing returning projectiles. So now we no longer have to take returning projectiles. So now we can actually see more by just having less shit at our screen. But I haven't played Defilers since 3.24, and we all know how long ago that was. That was my league starter for 3.24, so I'm looking forward to it. Kind of excited. Poison SRS should also be pretty chill. Fun fact, Poison SRS was the first ever build I played in PoE. My very first build. Back in my first league, which was Sanctum. Yeah, Sanctum. All right. So where were we? Then you started with high quality minions. I mean, at the time they hadn't been nerfed as much, right? And my next build from SRS was Skeleton Mages. So those two were my first two builds, just temporary minions, and then from there I think I started dabbling in more permanent minions. I hadn't done Spectres yet. What was my... Mazi, thank you for the follow. How you doing? And welcome. I don't remember what my next build was after Skelly Mages. Because like I remember making a Poison Skelly Mages build, which was... I mean... It was my very first build. So it wasn't that great, but... What the fuck am I looking at? Jesus. Lily, what is this? What the fuck is that? After Poison Skelly Mages, what was it? I made a totem build, I remember that. I made Wintertide Brand. Oh, it was the RF. That reminds... Oh, yeah. Minion RF was the next one. And then Strength Stacking Zombies. I think this was Hydra. Trip down memory lane. I actually completely forgot about this guy. Like, completely forgot. It's basically life stacking Sentinel of Radiance from when he first got released before he got nerfed. That's plus Explode SRS. Was a good build. I really enjoyed playing it, but I think that burnt me out on of SRS for a hot minute. I didn't want to touch SRS again. Like even to this moment, I'm still on defense with SRS. Like I only touch SRS enough to get through Act 1, and then if I can, I'm done. Like lately, I've been pivoting to Absolution just because of that simple fact. You're gonna try Golem sometime. Same. I think Golem is going to be in its best states it's been in minutes, and the buff to Primordial Chain is also just really big. I don't know if it's Chain. This buff actually makes it worth using according to my calculations at 6 golems. It's a 75% more damage multiplier at the very least. So before it was just never worth it to use the moment you went above a few golems, but now you can actually use it. I think you can maybe use it to like 8 or something. I'm not exactly sure. Having done all that much with minions, gonna dip my toes in by adding specters to a Bama build. Oh, I mean, I've tried specters with a Bama build and it turned out great. For that one, you just need to make sure you do have minion defenses, because I know Bama tends to rely a bit on Blessed Rebirth and not too much on minion defenses. And if you do that, your specters will die. But you don't need to. You just need to invest in some specters or some defenses, not that much, and use specters that have decent base survivability. That's basically it. Can I get a link to your POB with specters? I have a video that has basically all the links. Now, if you want any one link in particular, do you want to low? There's leveling, there's low, there's medium, there's high. Which budget would you like, or do you want all of them? Because I can just link the video. There you go. I'm going Guardian, so I'll have to a ton of auras and should be able to grab some defense nodes. Oh, your Leaguestarting Guardian? What is your plan for your recovery layer? Because like my biggest thing with Guardian, I mean, and this is not like a hard no, because like there are ways to go around it, but like I find recovery on non-necromancy, just because of the lack of leech, is just, it can be problematic before high budgets. Before you have stuff like consistent consecrated ground for percent regen, you have enough reservation for vitality. I mean, you would have vitality level 20, I think, on Guardian now, and then you have access to potentially Stone Golem, who should be life regen as well. Shum, if I'm pronouncing your name properly, once I'm done with stream, I'm going to be editing a video, and that video is going to be going into detail on the lower budget versions. That is the explanation for the high budgets. But like if you it's going to be a video that's a lot more hand-holdy through campaign and whatnot. It has a lot more explanations there and how to upgrade. So if you're fine with just POBs, then the POBs are in this one. But if you want a bit more explanation, the one that's coming out in like less than 12 hours will be even better, basically. And on that note, I just remembered I should be trying to end my stream soon so that I can actually edit that video. Let me see. Tomorrow's stream, what are we? I'm not settled on how tomorrow's stream is going to be. It's either going to be a short stream or I'm going to take a break, because Friday is going to be a very, very long stream. Leaguestart, I typically stream for like anywhere from 18 to like 28 hours. You know, that is my typical Leaguestart stream time. So I am looking to rest tomorrow to prepare for that. Honestly, I don't have a good plan. I have vitality, maybe shaper seed on my MERS. Also thinking taking Eldritch battery, mom with discipline somewhere. So your Eldritch battery with mind over matter with discipline makes sense. And you said Bama, right? Do I have any ideas? I mean, throw in your stone golem because it's free and it's good life regen to have. You're not stacking golem, so the life regen there is also good. And can I think of any sources of life regen off the top of my head that are cheap? Golem effect could be your best friend as well because that's more regen, and aura effect obviously. Enduring cry's buff only affects the person that cries, I think. So not that. I mean, just these sources should get you like to the 500 health per second mark, and like from there, you're kind of chilling, to be honest. If you use Anime Guardian with good items before you start using Raid Lord, does he still have items if you stash the gem? Yes, he does. Your Anime Guardian is character bound, and so long as you do not overwrite his item, and the previous patches, if he died, it'd be gone, but in the next patch, even if he dies, it's still there. So like right now, the only way to lose your Anime Guardian's items is to overwrite it with something else. So you can take off your gem, you can do whatever you want with it. It's locked to that character. So you can go in 2 years later on standard and you still have your Anime Guardian there. So since I'll have 6 links, I might try adding in a Spectre. I mean, if you have a second 6 link, I think that would probably go to auras. I think that would be the typical prime candidate for 6 links. Like if you were to get like a 4-5 link with auras and then still get an enlighten on top of it, so you can fit a bit more somewhere else, that's insane value for an enlightened gem. Anseronian, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. But yeah, I shall be back on either tomorrow for a short stream or on Friday. When I'm going live on Friday, I'll be live like an hour-ish before League starts, give or take, and I will be live until I can't stay awake. Basically, that's my plan right now. I don't think I'll need enlighten with the 50% reservation and charisma. I know that can fit 10 auras. Oh, are you going low life? Is this a low life setup? Because if you're going to be reserving your life as well, then 100% you can. But if it's just mana, it depends on the 10 auras at that point. That reminds me of an easy source I just remembered for... I should be ending my stream soon, but that reminds me of an easy source of... an easy source of damage mitigation. What is the other one again? Flesh and Stone. It needs slightly more mana reservation for this to work. Sad. Can we get any more mana reservation anywhere else on the tree? Nowhere that's close by. Okay. I mean, it was worth a shot. There's literally nothing we can do to reduce. Yeah, there's nothing we can do to reduce these guys. I guess we can do this. We can do this, and so long as he's still at the 100%, 99. We'll then need to do this. I don't like the amount of points we're using now, so we have to take off points from somewhere. But this is a worry for future me. I'm not going to sweat it right now. It is what it is. Worst case scenario, we take a point from, we'll leave it as is. Maybe a mastery, who knows. No low life. It's just mana. I'm hoping to farm a devouring diadem too, but unless I did something wrong, I don't even need it. But that is interesting. I guess if you stay away from 50% auras or from too many of them, I can see that happening. But if you're using 50% auras, then I guess if you're including the 3 extra auras from Guardian, i.e. your minions, your anger, wrath, hatred, those are 3 auras, so those 50% are done. I assume you're going elemental, so then you only have then it's on like defensive auras and like flat reservation. With flat reservation is chill. With anything like 35% res, you're still kind of fine. So I do still think 10 is a lot, even with the 3 free auras, because like you're looking at discipline, probably flesh and stone. Oh jeez. Counted the 3 elemental auras. Yeah, so 7 with your mana bar, right, is what that would mean, which is doable if you do not use 50%, because then you'd be doing like discipline, skitterbot, flesh and stone, and at that point with the 50% reservation is pretty strong, especially if you're taking like sovereignty and some other reservation on the tree, like if you're getting sovereignty here, then yeah, 100%. All right. I shall be back either tomorrow or Friday. Till then, have a good night. Appreciate y'all.